In this lecture, we'll discuss about the single phase fully controlled bridge converter with RL load. So this is a schematic diagram. So it consists of four thyristors T1, T2, T3 and T4. During positive half cycle, these two thyristors T1 and T2 will conduct, and during negative half cycle, T3 and T4 will conduct. Here load is considered as the RL load, and Vs is the supply voltage given by Vm sin omega t single phase AC supply. So as I said earlier, T1 and T2 will get triggered during positive half cycle, and similarly T3 and T4 are triggered during negative half cycle. So to ensure simultaneous triggering, both the thyristors, that is either T1 and T2 or T3 and T4, are fired from the same firing circuit. So next we'll discuss some important points related to this converter. So here the inductance in the load is mainly used to reduce the ripple, and if the value of inductance is large, then the load current is continuous. That is, continuous steady state current will flow through the load, and if there is a small value of inductance, then it will produce a discontinuous load current for larger firing angles. The voltage waveform is comprises of a DC steady state component which is superimposed with the AC ripple component. The voltage frequency will be equal to twice the supply voltage. Okay, the fundamental frequency of the voltage waveform will be equal to twice it of the AC supply voltage. So the line current, the input line current as a square waveform of amplitude I0. That is, the supply current IS will be equal to I0. That is the load current in magnitude. Whereas the fundamental component of this supply current waveform is in phase with the input supply voltage. So now we'll discuss the principle of operation. So first we'll see the operation during positive half of the supply voltage. So during positive half cycle, the thyristors T1 and T2 are in the forward biased condition because the terminal P is considered positive with respect to N. Okay. So this positive terminal will be connected to the anode of this T1 and negative terminal will be connected to the cathode of T2. So they are forward biased, and similarly T3 and T4 are reverse biased. So we can trigger these thyristors T1 and T2 anywhere in between 0 and 180 degree, that is during positive half cycle. So let us assume that these two thyristors are triggered at alpha is equal to 60 degree. So once these thyristors are triggered, the current will start flowing through the circuit. So the current will start flowing from the terminal P. It will flow through the thyristor T1, through the load, through this thyristor T2, and completes its path through N. Okay. So the load current will flow from upper terminal to lower terminal, and during this interval the supply voltage will appear across the load. V0 will be equal to Vs. So the upper terminal of the load is directly connected through this conducting thyristor T1 to the terminal P, that is positive, and the lower terminal is connected through this conducting thyristor T2 to the terminal N, that is negative. So the polarity of the voltage will be plus and minus. So now the supply current will start from P and it will end at N. So that is, it will flow from P to N. So this direction for the current is considered as a positive direction for the supply current. Okay. So this is the current path as shown in the figure. So now, as I said earlier, the supply voltage will appear from the instant when these two thyristors starts conducting, and the current will continue to flow through the load. So here we have assumed larger value of inductance, and hence the current will be assumed as constant. So this supply current direction, as I said earlier, it flows from P to N, and hence it is considered as positive. So now at the instant omega t is equal to pi. Okay. So at omega t is equal to pi, as we all know, the supply voltage will become 0, and after pi it will start increasing in the negative direction. So the supply voltage will become a reverse. So even though it is a reverse voltage, the thyristors T1 and T2 will still conduct. because the large value of the inductance will not allow the current to get minimized. That is, the load current is maintained in the same direction at a constant magnitude. So these thyristors will keep on conducting. Okay, so that portion of the negative voltage will appear across the load terminals. These two thyristors will not get turned off at omega t is equal to pi due to natural commutation, as in the case of R load. Okay, so these two thyristors will continue to conduct until the other two thyristors, that is T3 and T4, are triggered at omega t is equal to pi plus alpha. So now we'll discuss the circuit operation during negative half cycle of the supply voltage. So during negative half cycle of the supply voltage, this terminal P is considered as negative with respect to this N terminal. So these two thyristors T3 and T4 are forward biased. So we can trigger these two thyristors anywhere in between pi to 2 pi. Okay, so these two thyristors T1 and T2 are still conducting until we trigger these two thyristors. These thyristors will continue to conduct due to the presence of this load inductance. So once the thyristors T3 and T4 are triggered at omega t is equal to pi plus alpha, so the negative voltage will get applied across these thyristors T1 and T2, thereby turning it off. Okay, once the thyristor T3 and T4 are triggered, so they will start conducting and the current will start flowing through the circuit. So this time the current will start flowing from the terminal N. It will flow through thyristor T3, through the load, through the thyristor T4, and completes its path through P. Okay, so the supply current starts from N and completes its path through P, that is N to P. So this direction is considered as a negative direction for the supply current. Again here the load current remains to flow in the same direction, that is from the upper terminal to lower terminal. And similarly the supply load voltage, so the upper terminal of the load voltage is directly connected through this conducting thyristor T3 to the positive terminal, that is N. And similarly the lower terminal of the load voltage through this conducting thyristor T4 is directly connected to the terminal P, that is to the negative. So V0 will be equal to supply voltage with the polarity plus and minus. Okay, so again these two thyristors will not get turned off at omega t is equal to 2 pi. Okay, so they will still continue to conduct until the other two thyristors, that is T1 and T2, are triggered at omega t is equal to 2 pi plus alpha. Okay. So this is the current direction which is shown in the diagram. So next we'll discuss the waveforms. So as we have discussed earlier, we are triggering the thyristors T1 and T2 at omega t is equal to alpha. Here I have taken the example of alpha is equal to 60 degree. So at 60 degree these two thyristors are triggered. So once these thyristors are triggered, this shaded portion, okay, of the supply voltage, including this negative portion, will get appeared across the load. Okay, this is the load voltage, and the I0 is considered as a constant value. Here the inductance, if the inductance value is very large, then the load current remains constant. At the same time, the supply current flows from the terminal P to N, which is considered as a positive direction. Okay, so now at omega t is equal to pi plus alpha, thyristors T3 and T4 will start conducting. Okay, they are triggered and they will start conducting. So this shaded portion of the voltage will get appeared across the load. Okay. So now the supply current will flow from the terminal N to P, and hence it is considered as a negative direction. Okay. So these two thyristors T3 and T4 will continue to conduct until 2 pi plus alpha. So again at this 2 pi plus alpha, the thyristor T1 and T2 will start conducting, and this cycle will get repeated. So here again in RL load we are getting 2 pulses. Okay, for the single input AC voltage waveform we are obtaining 2 pulses at the output. Hence it is also called as a 2 pulse converter. So this current flows through the supply and the direction is from N to P as we have already discussed, and this is considered as a negative direction for the supply current. Now we'll derive the average value. So now the voltage, load voltage will appear across the load from alpha to pi plus alpha. So we can derive V naught average is equal to 1 by pi integral alpha to pi plus alpha Vm sin omega t d omega t. So Vm is taken outside. So Vm by pi integral of sin omega t will give us minus cos omega t over the limits alpha to pi plus alpha. So now if we substitute the limit, so here on substitution of this upper limit we'll get minus cos pi plus alpha. Substitution of the lower limit will give you minus of minus cos alpha. So that will become plus. So we can write V naught average will be equal to Vm by pi cos alpha minus of cos pi plus alpha. Okay. So this will give you 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. This 2 Vm by pi cos alpha is nothing but the average value of the load voltage. So now by controlling this firing angle alpha, the average value of the load voltage can be varied continuously from positive maximum to negative maximum. Okay, so in between 0 and 180 degree we can vary this value of alpha. So here the average DC voltage is reversible. That is, it can be both positive as well as negative, whereas the current flow in the DC terminal is unidirectional. Okay, so the power flow in this converter can be in both the directions, that is both positive as well as negative. As a result, we are having two modes of operation with the fully controlled converter with RL load. So one is the rectifying mode and the one is the inverting mode. So first we'll discuss the rectifying mode. So during the interval alpha to pi, both the supply voltage Vs and the supply current Is are positive, as we have already seen in the above cases. If you are triggering the thyristors at omega t is equal to alpha, so they will continue to conduct until pi. So even after pi, it will continue to conduct due to the presence of the load inductance. Okay, so it will continue to conduct until omega t is equal to pi plus alpha. Okay, so but during this interval pi to pi plus alpha, the supply voltage becomes negative. Okay, supply current remains positive. Okay, so because the supply current flows from the terminal P to N, so as a result the load returns some of its energy to the supply system. Okay, so here the power flow is considered as flowing from AC to DC load because pi minus alpha is greater than alpha value. So in this case the power flows from source to load. So if the average value, so if you see in the average voltage equation, if alpha value is less than 90 degree, okay, so the terminal voltage remains positive. We know that V naught average is equal to 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. So if we substitute lesser value of alpha, then the DC terminal voltage will remain positive. Okay, so therefore the power flows from AC side to DC side and hence the converter operates as a rectifier. So in rectification mode, the power flows from source to load, and the important condition is that the firing angle should be lesser than 90 degree. Okay, so this is the waveform for the rectification mode we have seen already. So that is when alpha remains 60 degree, that is less than 90 degree, this shaded portion will appear across the load. So this positive portion is larger when compared to this negative portion. That is, the average value of the load voltage is positive. Load current remains positive. Okay. So the supply current is also considered as positive. Okay. So these are the waveforms which we have already discussed. So this is for the rectification mode. So the important point to be noted here is that when the firing angle is less than 90 degree, this single phase converter will act as a rectifier and the power flows from source to load. So next we'll discuss the inverting mode. Here in the inverting mode, the firing angle is considered to be greater than 90 degree. So let us assume that alpha is considered as 135 degrees here. Okay. So as a result, the average value of the DC terminal voltage will be negative. So the power is also negative. So the condition for inverting mode is that alpha should be greater than 90 degree. Okay. So we can say that the power is delivered from DC side of the converter to the AC side, that is from load to source. Okay. So it is said that the converter is operating as a line commutated inverter. Okay. Here 2-quadrant operation is possible. So now we'll discuss the waveform. Okay, at alpha is equal to 135 degrees, which is more than 90 degree. Thyristor T1 and T2 are triggered. Okay, so once these two thyristors are triggered, these portion, that is from alpha to pi plus alpha, the entire portion will appear across the load. So if you see here, the average value of the load voltage is negative. This negative portion is more than this positive value, and hence the voltage remains negative and the load current is assumed as constant. Load current is positive, so the power is negative. Okay, supply current will remain positive from alpha to pi plus alpha. Again from pi plus alpha to 2 pi plus alpha, it will remain in the negative direction. Okay, this is the inverting mode. So the inverting mode, the important point is that alpha should be greater than 90 degrees. So now we'll see the RMS load voltage, V naught RMS value. So V naught RMS is equal to under root of 1 by pi integral alpha to pi plus alpha Vm square sin square omega t d omega t. So now the sin square omega t can be written as 1 minus cos 2 omega t divided by 2. So we can split this into 2 integration. So now we can write under root of Vm square by 2 pi integral d omega t, first term over the limits alpha to pi plus alpha, minus second term integral alpha to pi plus alpha cos 2 omega t. So if we integrate this term, we will get omega t over the limits alpha to pi plus alpha, and if we integrate this term, we will get sin 2 omega t divided by 2 over the limits alpha to pi plus alpha. Okay, this one. So if we substitute the limit, we'll get under root of Em square by 2 pi. So this whole term is under root, okay, power 1 by 2. So here if we substitute the limit, we'll get pi plus alpha minus alpha. So minus of 1 by 2 is taken outside, minus 1 by 2, sin 2 pi plus 2 alpha, upper limit, minus sin 2 alpha, lower limit. So now in the first term, alpha value will get cancelled. Again this sin 2 pi plus 2 alpha can be written as sin 2 alpha. Okay, so sin 2 alpha will get cancelled and this term will become 0. And again here pi will get cancelled. So finally we will get under root of Vm square divided by 2. Okay, that will be equal to Vm by root 2. So this is the RMS value of the load voltage. So next, form factor. So form factor is nothing but the ratio between V naught RMS and V naught average. So already we have derived these two terms. V naught RMS is Vm by root 2. So divided by 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. Okay, on simplification we get pi by 2 root 2 cos alpha. So next, ripple factor. So ripple factor is under root of form factor square minus 1. So that will be equal to under root of this term, pi square divided by 2 square root 2 square cos square alpha minus 1. On simplification we get under root of pi square divided by 8 cos square alpha minus 1.